Happy dude.
Happy dude. I appreciate you guys coming to visit. This has got to be the first time you've ever done a wheel, isn't it?
Yeah.
This might be the new thing of the future.
Well, we're going to go up to the big lookout point where Steve killed all his big bucks.
The yellow rocks.
And then we're going to show the whole world.
Yeah.
Everybody can come. We're going to sell this.
Yeah, Wade Lemon will be up here in a week. Give Wade GPS coordinate.
Craig Seegmiller, born October 13th, 1943, died January 21st, 1999. This place is here to celebrate the life of Craig Seegmiller. It is here at this spot where we shared the excitement of the deer hunt opening every year. This is our spot. My dad taught me many valuable lessons in my life, not only as a child, but in my adult life also. My dad taught me the importance of family. My dad was always there for us, everything from a head message to working hard and always the right words, all in order to give us every opportunity. My dad taught me the importance of being able to sleep with yourself at night as a result of my actions and decisions in everyday life. My dad taught me that the desire to be the best and win was good, but it was also just as important to shake the hand of the person who has defeated you. My dad taught me that honesty was not only important with others, but it is important to be honest with yourself. My dad taught me that hard work is important not only for a paycheck, but to have a job well done. My dad taught me that friends are not only for what they can do for you, but doing and being there for them. Thanks, Dad, not only for teaching me, but showing me. Your greatest fan, friend, and legacy to the world. Love, your son, Steve Seegmiller. Dedicated January 2000. What were you saying about that, Steve? You went up there what?
I've been going to those rocks in that very spot since I was 7 years old with my father. We would, before we had these fancy four-wheelers and ways to get up on this ridge, we'd start walking down at the creek crossing where we'd camp, and we'd walk all the way up the main canyon, and then we'd go up these old switchbacks to right here, and then we'd go up that ridge where you guys just went, and we'd sit in those rocks and wait for the sun to come up. We'd make that whole walk in the dark, and the incredible conversations I'd have with my father, and looking at the stars and looking over at the Monroe Mountain and watching all the hunters' trucks going up and just waiting for it to get light and building the fire. And had some cold years and warm years, and I shot my very first buck, which I'll show you here in a minute, in 1982, sitting at that very rock. And my father started coming up here when he was 12 years old with his father, so we've got a lot of family tradition. June 16th, 2004. I'm up here at Big Rock Candy Mountain on the Sargent Mountain with Doyle Moss and Jason Fisher, a couple close friends of mine that are taking the time out of their day to come up and do this little video diary for my kids and my grandkids and hopefully my grandkids' kids. I was born July 24th, 1966 in Lodi, California. Craig Seegmiller was my father. Judy Seegmiller, my mother. My dad played professional baseball for a number of years. We moved back to Utah at about an early age when I was about 6. I've been coming down here to this very spot on this mountain since I was 7 years old with my father, hunting deer. And my family, my great-grandpa started this Big Rock Candy Mountain with my great-uncle Pratt, my great-aunt LaRue, my grandpa's brothers and sisters, I believe back in the early 50s. And My father's been coming down here since he was 12 years old and shot his first deer on this very mountain also. And when I first started being able to carry a gun in 1982, I was able to shoot my first buck down here at Big Rock Canyon Mountain with my father, and happened right up here from these yellow rocks on the hillside directly to the west, northwest, I guess. Very special moment in my life, and I've been able to come down here with my daughters, Taylor, Madison, and Jordan, and my wife, and taking them all to this spot. Since I was injured February 15th of this, 16 months ago, we've made a lot of progress, and the doctor said I'd never breathe on my own, and I'd never move anything from the neck down. And we're doing this video here today just so something happens crazy and I don't make it, I've got something that my kids and grandkids could have to look at and to remember me by. But as you can see by the movement in my arms and the way I'm breathing on my own, I plan on being up here one day with my grandkids and walking up this very ridge early in the morning while the stars are still out and preparing for another opening day. I graduated from Provo High in 1984, went to the University of Utah on a golf scholarship. 85, got out of there in 88, graduated with a communications degree, went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where I had a golf sponsor, turned professional, played for about 3 years on what was called the Hogan's Tour, which is now called the Nationwide Tour. And if I would have kept doing that, I'd probably starve to death worse than I'm starving to death now. So anyway, that brought me back to Utah in about 90, probably I guess about 90, 91, where I had a few other businesses, a business called Video Vacations. See it before you experience it, take the risk out of your vacation. One of the first vacation businesses based on video. Had that for a short period of time and was bought out by a larger company. Was then a medical supply rep for a period of time, selling medical supplies to doctors' offices and whatnot. Did that for a while, and then I got into the roofing and siding business and found a lot of pleasure in working in the outdoors and working with my hands, and had that business for about 10 years and grew it from a business of myself and being the only employee to my wife, Wendy. As I met her, she was actually one of my first employees, and she and I would get up on the roofs and roof together. And as the company grew, we got married and kind of did things backwards, lived together, and then had kids, lived together, then got married. And thanks to her and all her support, we grew that business into 3 states and almost 40 employees in one state and 10 in the others. And then a couple years ago, I invented a product called the Stock Pod, which at the end of this video you'll see me demonstrate that, and it'll be something you can look at and know that I created. And as we go about the rest of this day, I'm going to take you to a couple other special spots on this mountain that mean a lot to me, and we'll speak a little more about the different things there. Right here is directly across the canyon from where the Sargent Mountain is, and this particular spot my family's called Chinaman's for years. And my great uncle Pratt would come up here on his horses, and he would go out here on this trail called the Balsam Trail that takes you out into the flats looking down into Marysville. And they'd come up here with their saws and their hatchets and trim the trail so that when the deer hunt rolled around, they could ride their horses out there and hunt and bring back the deer on the horseback. And then there's another trail that veers off to the southwest that they call the Coyote Trail. And once again, there's a lot of neat trails up here, and as you get up here and hike around and find them, it's a great way to get around the mountain quick and easy, and been a great source of many fond memories for me and my family. This spot makes me think more than anything of my wife Wendy, who I've been married to for 10 years as of June 19th. Actually May 19th, I always make that mistake. Actually May 19th, Wendy Seegmiller, or Wendy Bagnell, became my wife and became Wendy Seegmiller 10 years ago, May 19th. And one of our first years being married, we had a Ford Explorer. And I got in that thing and thought I could go anywhere, and Wendy said that we could go anywhere I wanted to go as long as we could listen to conference. So I says, all right, this is where we're going to go. And we came up here, and the road gets pretty narrow and pretty steep, but we made it all the way up to this point, and we parked the car and sat in here, and we listened to conference and got out and visited. And I remember we did a little bit of reading of the scriptures, and at that point in my life I wasn't too receptive to all that, but we still, no matter how different our directions were personally and spiritually and thoughts, my wife Wendy Seegmiller has been the most phenomenal, forthgoing, hardworking, patient woman a man could ever ask for as a wife. She stuck with me for 8 years of unbelievable hell and inconsistency, and even though we were great friends and we had a lot of fun together and we were very successful financially together, I didn't give her that I didn't give her near the compassion and that she deserved. After 8 years dealing with me as an alcoholic, we had, as I finally came around, and the stories are well documented, and I've got videos and stories written, and I don't want to go into it today about my sobriety and finally finding peace without alcohol and being sealed to my wife middle of March 2 years ago. And we had a year and a half there together where finances weren't very good, but no matter where things were at, we were happier than we ever were with life, just due to the fact that we were on the same plane spiritually, and we got sealed in the temple to my wonderful wife and my 3 beautiful children, Taylor, Madison, and Jordan. And on this very spot, about 2 years into our relationship, Wendy and I came up here on 4-wheelers and walked down off of this ridge, and I gave her a pair of diamond earrings. I think that was probably the nicest thing I did for her in the first few years of our marriage, and I can still remember how excited she was. And I remember we took the ribbon off the little box and took it down here and stuck it in the notch of one of the trees. And being in my current situation, I probably couldn't find it without looking hard, but this has been a fond memory up here of a special place where Wendy and I have come many times on horses and 4-wheelers and in vehicles, and sat out here on this point and looked out over the valley and had many wonderful conversations. And I guess if there's one message that I'd like to leave to my daughters and grandkids and all those who see this video, that is to remember the phenomenal peace that these mountains bring. And you don't even have to go that far from your home. Just getting up the canyon and getting off the road and turning off the radio and going for a walk and getting down on your knees and praying, and there's no place that you'll find greater peace in your life than in the mountains. It's just most incredible place. And I hope that all my kids, as they go through life, and as they, not if you come across struggles, but when you come across struggles and difficult times in your life, just go to the mountains and find that peace and serenity, and there's no other place in the world you'll get closer to God than in the mountains. And it took me a lot of years of enjoying the mountains, but still needing the alcohol, that one day I finally found true peace up here and became closer to God, and knowing the true happiness in God, in life, in these mountains than anywhere else and anything else could ever bring to you. And I hope Taylor, Madison, and Jordan, and hopefully there's going to be one more along the way, that I'm going to have a son and he'll be able to watch this, and one day I'll actually be able to bring him up here in person and ride these hills and keep bringing my daughters up here. I've spent many days up here with all of you girls, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed them at the time, and when I'm laying in my bed or getting down on life or the particular situation I'm in, that thinking about the times with you girls and riding horses or four-wheelers or sitting by the camp and watching you play in the creek or build things out of dirt. Are sincerely the happiest days of my life. And I want you to know that whatever does happen to me, if I do happen to go early, how much I love you guys, and I'm fighting like hell, and I'm going to beat this. And how important it is for you to stick close to the truth and the peace, and not to get caught up in the world, the television and the videos and the video games, to get out there and to enjoy the mountains, and to get out there with your kids and ride the horses, and maybe even chase silly dogs across the mountains looking for bears and lions, or whatever it takes. But just remember, this is where the true peace is. And as you grow up in life and you're going on, with or without me around, God, can't do it. That I'm convinced that on the other side in heaven, this is what's waiting for us. I promised your mom that if I get there ahead of her, I'm going to have the most incredible mansion built for her. It's going to be up here. I'm going to make her the most beautiful rose gardens, and they're going to be absolutely immaculate. It's something she's always wanted, and I hope I get to stick around and do it at the house we're in. But she always wanted just the perfect yard and the gardens and places to walk out and think. And I'm going to have all the beautiful flowers, and as I'm sitting here right now looking out, these cactuses are in bloom up here right now, and they're just absolutely incredible. And then we've seen a lot of blue flowers, what I don't know what they are, and we actually saw, what is the state flower, Seagull lily? Mm-hmm. We saw some seagull lilies today up here on the other side over on the Sargent where we did some earlier video. But God, the peace and pleasure that you kids can find up here, and promise me that as you fight your battles in life, no matter what they are, problems with your spouses, financial, physical ailments, injuries, cancer, Alzheimer's, paralyzed. Just promise me before that you'll always retreat to the mountains. I'm so sorry, I'm so emotional. It's so hard to do this for you kids. And you, Wendy. But it was important, as the doctors have been so realistic. I wanted to make sure I did it. This isn't my way of giving up. This is my way of letting you know that I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to beat this, and I'm ready to walk. And our life's going to get better and better every day. And I want you girls also to remember how important you're keeping your own personal spirit and things intact by making the right decisions. As you go through life, being a man and knowing, and I can't say I was any better, but every guy you ever go out with, I don't care how good they are, they're after one thing and one thing only. And as soon as you give that up, you're not going to be as pursued. And you got to remember that is sacred for you and your husband. And I can promise you that you will always feel better about yourself, better about your life, if you follow the teachings of the church. I want y'all to do your own praying and your own fasting and find your own testimony, and not just because I said it was true. It took me a long time to find out, but just by living the way the gospel teaches you to live. Sexuality, saving it for marriage. By getting pregnant, it can throw your whole life and your goals, and I'm not saying that you're not going to make mistakes, but so very, very important to keep the upper hand with the boys and to not put yourself in a situation that not only do you give it up, but put yourself in a situation where a boy can take advantage of you. It absolutely kills me that I'm not the protector that I wish I could be. The other day, Jordan got a new bike. And Wendy left for a little while and left us out in the driveway. And I was watching Jordan ride around in her little bike. And she fell off. Scraped her knee. And it wasn't a bad scrape, but it shook her up. She had her little helmet on, and she came running over to me and jumped up into my lap. And I felt so helpless. And I just want you kids to know that even though I can't protect you as physically as well as I used to, that I'm always there for you mentally, that I'll always be there for you to talk to. I'll always be able to give you advice. My spirit will always be up here in these hills, and I'll be looking after you. I lost my dad at a fairly early age, about 5 years ago, and I'm a grown man. And there's not many days that go by that I don't think of my dad and wish he was around. And I appreciate how well you kids have treated me and respected me, even though I lay in the bed or in my wheelchair. But I want you to know that what keeps me going and gets me up in the morning and gets me to therapy and gets me out here in this Polaris and get me working towards getting on that horse, is I'm going to be there for you kids. And if God's willing, I really believe that I'm going to walk again. And to always have nothing but the utmost respect for your mother. That woman has been dealt a pretty incredible, a pretty difficult hand. And I'll tell you what, your mother has handled it like a true champion. I look back, and as I've read about the church and Emma Smith and losing her sons and all the hell that she went, and I respect that, but I'll tell you what, for what your mothers went through dealing with me and sticking by my side with my drinking and financial ups and downs and all my hunting and whatnot, she is the most incredible woman. And to follow in her footsteps, and always go to your mom for advice and help, because she's your best friend and she's your supporter. Follow your mom's example. It's my nose running. And I want to stress to you kids, next to family, and as dear as family, people in general, we're all brothers and sisters. And tell you what, friends are so very, very important. As you go through your life and you find every opportunity to pull over and meet somebody or talk to somebody and get to know people for who they are, I've been so blessed by such a great example. My father had a million friends. He was kind of shy and didn't like to talk a lot. You got him around a few people, and he was a wonderful friend, and I learned by a great example. And I can't tell you how important it is to be true to your friends and to be there for them and to make the phone calls, and not only call them when you need them, but just to make those phone calls and leave those messages and let them know that you're there for them. Because I'll tell you what, I've always been blessed to be around great people and phenomenal friends. And there's nothing more important in this life than leaving it better than you found it. And by meeting people, and you learn neat things. And I think of the people that I've met simply by pulling over and asking somebody if I could maybe hunt on their property or set traps in their cornfields, and that have blossomed into friendships that are second to nothing in my life other than my family. And those friendships are something that lasts for a lifetime. And it's so very, very important to be true to your friends and true to yourself. As I've went through this injury and since I broke my neck, the many people that donated, sat at the hospital by my side, stood by your mom's side, donated out thousands of hours on our house, and the friends that load me up and carry me around to get out in the outdoors so I can still experience it. None of it would be possible without friends. And I had no idea just how deep those friendships ran until I had this injury. And the wonderful people that have helped me move forward with this injury. These mountains up here run deep with our family's history. As you walk through the groves of quaking aspens and you start getting off the road and even on the main roads and you start looking, you're going to see our family's names all over and leave records. And I've got countless trees up here that I've carved my name in, and as the years went on, I always found myself carving your kids' names in, and whenever I'd get myself into a predicament and have to wait for somebody to come pull me out, or waiting for the dogs to come back, I'd always sit down and carve in trees and carve our names, and it's something special to me and that my family's done up here for a lot of years. Well, it's later in the day. I don't know if I accomplished what I expected to accomplish when I came down here, which was to let my wife and kids know how much I love them and hopefully leave a little bit of a legacy about this country and about me. And I ended up just kind of being an emotional boob, and I want for everybody that does watch this just to know how much I appreciate family, love and respect and appreciate all my friends, and the deep love and respect I have for the outdoors and the peace and serenity that is out here. You know, I'm really 99% of the time I'm a lot of fun and laugh and serious, and or not so serious and emotional, and just this whole injury's been real difficult, and the thought of not maybe being around for my kids and grandkids is a tough one to choke down. So I hope the messages and that I've said today are taken in the manner in which they were meant. As far as leaving things to people, the only thing that really mean anything to me are probably my guns and my dogs, and my dogs will always be my kids. And that's the reason the people that I've left, Quasi and Tommy and Bodie, to Kim to run and raise, so that whenever my daughters want to go hunting, they can call Kim and he will go take them hunting and chasing and teaching them. There's a full tracking system that Kim will also have with those dogs. And anytime if you kids want to get back into dogs or keep them at the house, they're yours. I want Luke to take pride, and once again, that's his dog, and hopefully he'll take my kids hunting and keep them involved in the outdoors, and maybe breed some puppies out of pride and get my kids some dogs and grandkids, keep the legacy alive. I've got a bundle of guns, and my guns are going to be left up to my wife's decision on which child deserves them or who's going to use them and appreciate them the most. There's a .30-30 Winchester that my father got when he was 12 years old and shot his first deer, and he passed down to me, which means a lot to me. There's a Browning lever action .22 my dad gave me when I was 10 years old. Means a lot to me. Had it all my life. It's in excellent condition. There's a Remington pump long .22 with scope that my wife and kids gave me for Father's Day 1 year right here at this Creek Crossing campground. I've got a little Rossi .22 long that my father had when he was a kid and passed down to me, and I'd like to leave that to Tyler so that he's got something to remember me by. I want all my saddles and spurs and chaps and tack to stay with my kids and grandkids, so that they will find the pleasure in riding horses. And even though I know they'll all want their own stuff, I hope that by leaving my stuff, that'll always be something of memory. I've got a bunch of shotguns. I've got a Remington 20 gauge pump Wingmaster 870. My dad gave it to me when I was 12 years old, that I've shot a lot of birds with, and my dad left it on my bed with a box of shotgun shells in a case. And when I came home and passed under safety, that was my gun. I've got a 12 gauge
Remington automatic that I guess is more Wendy's. It's something I gave Wendy, and that's her shotgun. And then we've got a little 870 Wingmaster automatic shotgun that's Wendy's that I gave her for Mother's Day, that we always laughed, and what a Mother's Day present. I've got a Winchester 270 stainless Leupold 3x9 scope. It's the first gun I bought after Wendy and I were married. It's a good deer rifle. I've got a Winchester 243 great varmint gun, also a good deer gun. It's the first deer gun I think Taylor will use to shoot her first buck. I have a Weatherby 300 mag. A close friend of mine gave me one year just out of friendship. Large game, elk, maybe deer, but more elk and moose in the big game. I've got a Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum pistol. Once again, Wendy and my beautiful kids gave me for Father's Day one year up here at the creek. And then Wendy has a little Beretta 9mm handgun that she always wanted a handgun, so that one's hers. All of the other little things and photographs, there's a lot of pictures that mean a lot to me. One in particular is a picture of a cowboy looking out over a little calf, looking out over the range with that my grandpa left me. There's a set of spurs that are pretty fancy. No one will probably ever want to ride with them, but they're stainless steel or sterling silver, and they are from my grandpa Garth, who gave them to me, that were given to him by Paul Marriott, the gentleman that started the Marriott Hotel. So those are quite a collector's item. Just all the things that I have all that mean a lot. I hope when the kids and however they get distributed, everybody has a deep respect that where they've been, and there's a little bit of me in everything that I've got. Once again, I just emphasized my love for family and friends and how much my wife means to me. And I just hope in the future, and as we go on in this life and the next life, that she'll always know how much I love her and how dear she is to my heart, and that I can't imagine a more perfect partner that I could have chosen or been blessed enough to have. And this little creek crossing right here there's an acre here that my Uncle Ben gave me that hopefully we'll be building a cabin on across the creek one day, or if nothing else, it's a great place to come up camping and set up a tent and listen to the stream flow by at night and start a fire. And I've had a lot of wonderful memories here, sober, drunk, whatever. I've enjoyed myself thoroughly here. Across the creeks where my father and I always camped. When I was a young kid, my grandpa would be there and my uncle, and we'd sit down here at our camp spot, and this is where we'd start hiking. And we'd hike up this road and then back and forth up those switchbacks and then up the ridge to where that plaque is of my father's, and that's where we'd spend our days deer hunting. I've met many of friends just up here in these hills as I've wandered around, and I didn't get to one spot up here at the bottom of a place called Pete's Pit, and that's actually what it is on the map. And there's a little place where a little bit of water trickles out, and if you walk about 200 yards up the trail, Ben and also Charlie Smith knows exactly where it is, and there's a tree there that I've dedicated to my kids and how much I love them. And then there's also the other many trees in the bottom of the canyon where we've carved our names and etched not only our family members but the dogs and the kids, and left, remember once we left some gold coins that we hid around in the trees and in the grass and told the kids that leprechauns had left them there years ago. And I don't know, I could go on and on forever, but this whole day and this short video is just meant to show my family how much I love them and respect them, and this is my favorite place in the world to do it. I'd like to thank Doyle Moss and Jason Fisher for coming up here and spending the time doing it and taking away from their work and their families today to come up here and do this for me. And Wayne Hanson, another close friend of mine that couldn't be up here today, that owned the elk ranch up here above it, means a lot to me. And special tribute to Ron Sagers, who is the one person that's made life really, helped me through a lot of tough times getting sober, and passed away a year ago. So Ron, if you're up there, I wanted to let you know how much I care about you and appreciated your friendship. To all my friends, might catch the tail end of this, I want to let you know how much I care and respect for you, and enjoyed all the moments on the mountains and wherever it might have been visiting, or the telephone calls, and for all those who spent all the hours taking me to therapy and taking me in the hills, and how much I appreciate everyone. And hopefully it'll be another 20 years and we're doing this again. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Steven Seegmiller. I'm about to show you the versatility of the stock pod, the ultimate connection. Weighing only 22 ounces, the stock pod has the ability to fit any size person. Simply adjust the larger knob on the bottom, the butt piece will slide in or out to fit any size person, half a crank back, and the butt piece is locked firmly in place. The smaller knob, by simply twisting it, you can add a spotting scope, camera, or camcorder, whatever your personal need is. On the bottom, we have an adapter that you can fit a tripod, a window mount, so that you can use the stock pod right out of your vehicle, or, like I have set up on the counter here, take the quick release off your larger tripod and you can use the stock pod right off it. Another great product, the Trax walking stick. Simply remove the wooden knob on top. It fits nicely into the bottom of the stock pod and adds another way to add stability. Stony Point, monopod, bipod, or any type of shooting stem. Give you the opportunity to stabilize with a spotting scope, camera, or camcorder, whatever you're using. On the bottom, we have sling studs, so you can fit any bipod system that will fit a rifle. For example, the Harris bipod works very good to stable it up, to crank up the power a little bit. You can also throw on a sling, and now you can tote it into the field over your shoulder instead of carrying it in your hand or throwing it in your backpack. The way I have this counter display set up, which is a great way to draw attention to the product and other products that you may be trying to sell, is I've got my spotting scope on here, I've got my quick release from my larger tripod, and I've got my Harris bipod. What I'll do is, before I go out in the field, I'll loosen the knob up, hold it up, slide it in until the eye relief is correct, simply twist the knob, shear it up, and I'm ready to go. I'll put it on the lowest power, focus it in. Now when I go into the field, I've got it over my shoulder, I'm walking along, I see something I want to look at, simply flip it off, throw it up, I've already got my focus set. It's just like using a gun to locate what I'm looking at. Another way a person showed me the other day that works nice is just extend the butt piece all the way out, tighten it up, and you can actually sit it on your shoulder and stable it up this way, and now you can even mess around with the focus and the powers a little bit if you'd like. Once again, it's only limited to your imagination. I have a Harris bipod on mine, which makes it nice because I can crank this down, put it on the ground in a prone position, off a rock or even off the hood of my vehicle, and I can crank up the power mid-range and mess around with the focus even more. If I'd like to crank up the power and get a really intense close look at whatever I'm looking at, and I do have my tripod and I've hooked up my quick release, simply lock the stock pod onto your tripod. Now, instead of messing around with the joysticks and getting frustrated trying to locate whatever you've looked at that you want to take a closer look at, like I always did, simply grab the stock pod just like you would your rifle, and you can spin it around, look at the whole hillside. You've got the ability to crank up the power, mess around with the focus. You can actually find what you're looking at instead of getting frustrated with those darn joysticks. leave your tripod at home. Got your Stony Point walking stick. Roll it up, crank it around. Once again, only limited to your imagination. Also, if I found something I've located with my spotting scope and I want to take a photo of it or use my camcorder, bottom knob, loosen it, spotting scope off, camcorder, camera on. Taking a window mount, the adapter added on the bottom, connect these two, add your spotting scope, camera or camcorder, gives you the ability to do whatever you want right out of the front of your vehicle. The stock pod will draw attention to itself, set up on a counter display, something like this. Once the person comes over, you can now take it, stick it right into their hands. It will sell itself. Now you also have the opportunity to sell that person a bipod system, some sort of tripod, a window mount, a sling, maybe upgrade on their optic system, different carrying cases fit it, tripod systems. This product is a great way to sell other products. The stock pod, it is the ultimate connection. I have tested this myself. I have found that it makes using all of the optics and different products that I own much quicker and easier with the natural feeling of pointing a rifle. Once again, my name is Seegmiller. I look forward to hearing feedback from anyone, negative or positive, on the use of the stock pod. Any different ways to use the stock pod that enhances its use, please call me, 801-319-8500. That's 801-319-8500. Thank you and good luck selling the stock pod.
The stock pod, the ultimate connection, from quickly spotting and filming trophy game to recording those unforgettable family memories. The stock pod allows greater stability and easier tracking with that natural feeling of pointing a rifle.
Hello, my name is Steve Seegmiller. I'm about to show you the ultimate product, the stock pod, the ultimate connection between your favorite tripod, bipod, spotting scope, camera, or camcorder for making spotting, videotaping, and photographing game much quicker and easier with the simple pointing action of using a rifle. By taking this larger knob, simply loosening it, the butt will slide out to a comfortable position. Half a turn back, it locks down. Taking the smaller knob and your universal fitting, and you can add a camcorder, a camera, or your spotting scope, whatever works best for you in the field and what you're about to do. You also have the swivel mounts on each end of the stock to where you can hook up a Harris bipod or your favorite strap, so when you go into the field, it's much more efficient and quicker to use than taking the time to set up a tripod to take a look at an animal.
Out with the old, in with the new. The stock pod, the ultimate connection.
The stock pod, the ultimate connection. Everything from quickly spotting and filming trophy game to recording those unforgettable family memories with greater stability and natural feeling of pointing a rifle, along with a stock that will adjust to fit a young child to a grown adult by the simple twist of a knob. By adding a spotting scope, camera, or camcorder to the stock pod, you are one step closer to creating the ultimate connection to fit your own personal needs. The ability to add different attachments is the opportunity to create many combinations of versatility for your own ultimate connection. For example, a bipod and a sling attachment to the swivel mounts makes for easy packing and quick, stable viewing. By adding a quick release from your tripod, you create even greater stability for filming or viewing your child's activities. To that big buck feeding across the hillside. Switch the quick release to a window mount for the same outstanding features from the seat of your vehicle. The Stock Pod, enhancing the sportsman's opportunity to quickly locate, view, and photograph game, to recording those unforgettable family memories.
The Stock Pod, enhancing the sportsman's opportunity to quickly locate, view, and photograph game, to recording those unforgettable family memories. The Stock Pod, the ultimate connection for all of life's adventures.
The Stock Pod, the ultimate connection. Everything from quickly spotting and photographing game to recording those unforgettable memories. Your adjustable stock adds greater stability and easier tracking with the natural feel of pointing a rifle. Simply adding a spotting scope, camera, or camcorder to the Stock Pod, and you're one step closer to creating the ultimate connection to fitting your personal needs.
The Stock Pod, the ultimate connection for spotting and stalking trophy game, so that you can have an experience of taking a trophy animal like the Aoudad.
Let's now join Sean for another Keys to Success.
Now, in this week's Keys to Success, we have the Stock Pod. Now, this is Steve Seegmiller, CEO and President of Stock Pod. Now, Steve, if you will, tell the viewers a little bit about your product.
Love to, Sean. What we've done is we've taken the old wooden stock that the old-timer used to bolt or duct tape his spotting scope to be able to have a little more versatility in the field and spot game quicker.
Sure.
We've added the ability to slide the butt piece in and out to fit virtually any person. We've added the ability to put a bipod to get a little more stability if you don't want to crank up the power, get a little more versatility, or a window mount so that when you're in your vehicle, you're not messing around with the little joysticks and whatnot.
Sure.
And if you really want to crank up the power, you got something out there long distance, simply add it to your tripod. Now you've just completely combined all the versatility of an $1,800 spotting scope with all the equipment that you already own.
Yeah. You know what I see in this product is all hunters are used to pointing a rifle. So you take that natural feel and you put it over to your spotting scope.
It's so much easier to look at something and hold something up your shoulder and there it is. Boom,
Right.
I've seen it.
Right.
Instead of having to pull out, you set up your tripod, you're messing around with the joystick, it takes you a long time to find something.
And plus, if you're on this tripod and all of a sudden you need to move, you just pop it off and go and you still have your spotting scope.
Exactly.
Now, I see a camcorder here. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, the great thing about this, now I've spotted it, I'm in the blind, I'm all by myself, but I don't have a cameraman over my shoulder like yourself to videotape my hunt. Simply release the smaller knob, you pull out the spotting scope, put on a camcorder, you've either got it on the tripod or a window mount, and you're recording your own hunt.
I see. So you don't need two stock pods. I mean, you take one, you go with it, you do anything you need to do.
The ultimate connection.
That sounds good. Now, folks, we're going to be using the stock pod this year in the field and hopefully spotting some world-class game. I think you need to give it a try.
We're up here at Catalina hunting in the steep cliffs of Texas. It's steep. Just a matter if we brought our climbing ropes to be able to climb clear up here and get into the country where he's at. Without getting bit by Mr. Rattlesnake. How about this? Check it out, check it out. Two great big black Catalina. Look at the horns on those things. Look at the horns on those things. Look. Jet black right up on that top. There's an odd-dead line. There's an odd-dead line. Look at that odd-dead right behind it. Little ibex or something. To his right. Right to the right of the black one. I'm gonna take the ibex. The ibex is bigger. Look at that ibex. Unbelievable. I'm gonna try a shot at the ibex. It's clear.
step out when you can see him good.
I got it all the time.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Okay, let him step out in that opening. I can shoot him through that bush, but I hate to do it.
Late in the evening, we see these things a long ways away. We made the most incredible stalk with Mr. Cameraman and me in my shorts, and it's about 85 degrees, and we have just worked our way all the way across this clearing. We saw these goats on this real steep hillside over here, and we crawled up and down through all these trees, worried about the big rattlesnakes that everybody's warned us about. And we got up here, and we've been waiting them out for almost 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It may have been 5, but it felt like 30, 40 minutes. Finally, this one showed itself. And I'll tell you what, my heart's pounding like a great big mule deer. If we would not have had the stock pod and a spotting scope, we wouldn't have spotted these things, because we've been over looking for what's kind of fallow deer. We've been looking for fallow deer, and we spotted these long ways away when we were just messing with the stock pod.
Upon returning to camp, Steve and Joe, his cameraman, review the footage of this hunt and unfortunately find that Steve has actually made a clean miss.
Even with the stock pod and the ability to spot and locate that animal, you still have to have the ability to hit the thing. And I have obviously missed. After further review with my cameraman back at the camp last night, I flat missed. So we are going to go try it again and see if we can locate another one and try to do this whole thing again, and maybe I'll be... Right through the bullseye. Joe, come out behind that counter and give me a little input on the stock pod.
All righty. Wow, I had no idea it was really that light.
Not bad, is it?
No, not at all. We've got those cliffs over there about 1,000 yards we can kind of take a look at and scan. Wow. Wow.
Quick and easy, isn't it?
Wow. Nice. Great optics. Steady. I can't believe how steady I can hold this thing. Holy cow, dude. There's 3 oddhead coming down that cliff. Wait. They're straight right there. See them coming off the top and going down on the bottom.
I got it. That first one's a good one. That first one's a real good one.
We got to hustle and get down there before we lose light. Let's go. He's down in this hole below us. He has to be if he's in the open. Right here? Yeah, somewhere down on the bottom. There he is. There he is. He's going off the side. He's going into that brush. I got him. This will come right to us.
Me and Mr. Cameraman, who's behind there, is the only guide with me. We spotted these things from a long ways away. We were back working the spotting scopes and using the stock pod and whatnot, and they were great. And we spotted these things down here a long ways, and we've worked in on them. I didn't think we were going to be able to get a shot because these things have been so spooky. No one has shot one of these things yet, and they've been so spooky. And we got in here, and Mr. Guide Man, between avoiding the rattlesnakes, just like we did last night, neither of us got bit, we worked down this creek bottom, fed into them, and made one great shot. My heart's pumping just like I've just been chasing a big mule deer, a great big 400 bull elk. And right over here, about 10 feet away, I'm about to pull up one great big aoudad, and I'm psyched. This aoudad right here just goes to show that you can go from one night of almost being in tears to another night where you're so excited you can't wait to jump up and down and do your handstands. I had the opportunity tonight to be out here with my guide, quote, cameraman, slash, just good friend, and having the opportunity to make an incredible stalk on this aoudad. After using the stock pod with this Leica spotting scope, that he spotted this animal at, I bet, close to 1,000 yards, picked out the best of 3 animals. We made an incredible stalk, got into a great range, made a shot, put him down in his tracks. Done deal. I'd like to thank Chasing the Dream for the opportunity to be here and to hunt such an animal. I'd like to thank Rio Bonito Ranch for the incredible food, luxury, the opportunity of hunting this ranch. What an unbelievable experience for any hunter of any caliber. And the stock pod for helping us find this animal so that we can end this day on such a great experience.
There's nothing like ending a great day in the field with a fine meal and a story about the one that didn't get away.
I'd like to thank Sean Chatham and Chasing the Dream and the Rio Bonito Ranch for the opportunity to come out and take this incredible aoudad. Thank you, Sean.
Steve, we enjoyed having you. Now, I have to tell you, Steve has really been something else. He's kept the camp light. And let me ask you now, did you really run all the way back to camp?
We did run all the way back to camp.
But no, on a serious note, we've had a great time on the Rio Bonito. The quality of animals, as you can see, is absolutely phenomenal. The accommodations are just unbelievable. Steve, do you think you want to come back?
I think more than I would have ever imagined when I came here.
We'd love to have you back.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Sean.
Good animal.
Thank you, sir.
It was in March of 2002 when I was first invited by our friend Steve Seegmiller on a spring horseback ride to look for lions. Although we didn't see any that day, we sure had a wild and rugged ride somewhere west of Faust in the West Desert Mountains of the Vernon-Tintic District.
4th of April, 2002. Heading up Indian Canyon. Lion hunting with Steve Seegmiller and Lonnie Hadlock.
Tyler forgot that radio. Let's see if I can hold my hand that way. Comfortable and warm. I got up, didn't even go to bed last night, I just thought. Got to make sure I've got coveralls for both of them. Make sure everything's ready to go so they can have a good time. Just need everybody to be happy.
Now what's the name of that peak over there?
That's Pass. The pass up over here, a little bit more to your south, that big pass. That's called, the other side of that's Death Canyon. That's where we rode from the other day. And we came over that pass and into this canyon, then we went back over the pass back and drove around and came up this way. Well, you've got a map of this country, right? Yep. Okay. I does. $1,000 bar, anyone? Well, yeah.
could have had one going already. Since you're new, we don't want to spoil you, so we're trying to be patient. I better watch what I'm saying every time I turn around. That video camera's on.
Yeah. Tyler has joined us. Well, we're having fun. We haven't seen any lions yet, but had a good ride.
They don't call it lion hunting because we're chasing lions.
Yeah. Well, you're lying down.
Steve?
Yeah.
You probably won't want to take me anymore.
Uh-oh.
The last time we went, you walked the dog to death.
You were there with that one dying, weren't you? You know, I can't go to dinner on a trip with those guys and not hear that camera mount on the top of that horse's head. Just turn it on.
Oh, yeah.
I want to daughter that.
Well, we're back at the track. There's Libby. She was lost up there. She just came down by herself behind us.
This is Mr. Alan Reinhold on his first lion hunt. He was a little disappointed because the country was so flat and barren. As you could see in the background, there wasn't a whole lot of contrast to it. It wasn't thick and there was no trees, and just kind of meandered through these big flat open places, but
And that's no lion.
no lion, because we were lion hunting with Alan Reinhold, the great mounter, the Reinhold Mount.
We got something over there.
Palm. Go for it. Go get it. Go.
That's okay.